thank you for making it this evening. We're open to the public. We made that promise months ago, and I think we fulfilled that promise. I know that Rebecca Escobar and I were talking about when we were going to open up the Housing Authority community room to everyone, and she really pushed me along. I didn't want to say anything, but she did, and we've got a full house here tonight. I don't know, good 10 people, maybe more. But the ones that we do have here, they're vocal. They go out, they speak, and their president here, their resident council president, Gretchen Spencer's here. You'll hear from her later. So right now I'm going to go into the notice of the meeting. This meeting of the Board of Commissioners will take place electronically in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-9.3. Notice of this meeting was given by 1, public advertisement with sufficient notice herewith to the Home News Tribune. 2, filing advance written notice of this meeting with the City Clerk's Office. And 3, posting this notice on the public website of the Housing Authority. During the meeting, participants, including members of the public, may be muted by the host. However, there will be an opportunity for them to participate and speak during the public portion of the meeting, where participants will be unmuted at their request. At this time, I'd like to do roll call. Commissioner Caldwell. Commissioner Dunlap. Unfortunately, Commissioner Dunlap notified me that he had a death in the family and he had to leave immediately. So our thoughts go out to him. Commissioner Giorgiani. Commissioner Giorgiani? Okay, I hear you. Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Pettix? I saw you. Oh, there you are. Okay, thank you. And Chairman Wright told me a week ago he was unable to attend tonight. Let the record reflect.
There was busting Commissioner Giorgiani's for not unmuting himself, and I didn't unmute myself.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I saw your head. Motion. We do have a quorum. We will be proceeding forward. Let the record reflect. This carries quorum. Sorry. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. For those of you who can stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. We're so excited we're open to the public finally. It's been 4 years almost. My report will be simple. We are so happy with HUD that we received $11 million of subsidy to be used specifically for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, better known as Section 8. The individuals that every day I tell my assistant Duran Weeks and the director of Section 8 HCV, Claire Moore Ramos, that the number of individuals that email me daily is just heart-wrenching. The lack of housing, the opportunity for housing just doesn't exist. So this was a really, really large infusion of cash that we can desperately use for the people that we serve and need. That'll be going out in the next couple weeks, I believe. But it was a job well done by the federal government. We greatly appreciate that. Additionally, the summer's coming. I have an RFP out on the street now for a surveillance, video surveillance camera system that is second to none what we're looking for. We had close to 20 respondents, and Mr. Camacho will tell you, he's helped me navigate through the challenges of the RFP process. I wish we had 20 responses for plumbing, carpentry, and the other vendors that we use. They don't exist. And, because people are into high tech, but will be the safest area around. It will no longer just be Robeson Village and what we've done there over the last couple of years, which I'm sure you'll hear from Ms. Gretchen and some other people here about the transformation there. But that's it in a nutshell. I just need a motion for the consideration of meeting minutes from last meeting to now. I'll need if you guys are okay with that, commissioners, I'll need a motion in a second, and we can move to public comment.
I have a question
Okay.
on the 11 million. Is this a new money in addition to you?
This is new money. Commissioner.
Newman, oh,
Yep,
okay.
Brand, it does not affect, my budget's going in now for approval. You guys will be voting on that this evening to approve it, not to adopt it, then it goes off to the state. I mean, they could cut me, I guess, but this is new monies across the board. New Jersey was impacted greatly, and I think some people are going to be really, really happy with their gift package that they're getting for Section 8 recipients.
Okay, can I
Yes,
ask
sir.
a question too, Director? Just on a, maybe you can give us a little, and not to belabor this, but just a little more information on how you received the money, was it an application process that you had to do? God bless.
Thank you.
Just kind of that, and this is just for, I know it's called the Choice Neighborhood Grant, so it allows people to pretty much use those Section 8 vouchers to go outside New Brunswick too, or just in New Brunswick, or how does that whole $11 million work, if you don't mind?
I know how it works pretty well, but on the legal regulations of it, Mr. Camacho can enlighten us and tell us how the overall voucher program, yes, you would have to stay in the area for a year, and then you could move outside of the area and port out. But some of this will be project choice. Alberto, if you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, so it's a good question, Commissioner. When you're dealing with the choice grants, they do have specifics. It is within the greater, New Brunswick area. So I believe there are some exceptions. So it does allow for outside as well. But for the most part, you're talking about within New Brunswick, and you are looking at again, $11 million new money for the use of in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. So that's fantastic. So and overall, that's something which as Dan pointed out, they are seeing, you're seeing this throughout the state that they were able to get some funds in that they're providing to housing authorities like New Brunswick in order to provide this money where it's needed. So,
And if I could just do a follow-up question on that, and that's the $11 million has to be spent this year, or how does that work? And then what happens when the $11 million is used up? What then fills that gap that was created by using this $11 million? Not to say I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth, but I'm just worried down the road now there's going to be a shortfall or the ability to sustain this type of a grant.
yeah, no, good question. They do give you a timeline. I don't think it's a year, Dan. I think they do give you a little more than that. But I'd have to double check that, Commissioner, as far as the exact timing. And as far as the utilization, the $11 million, essentially the way the federal government works, when you utilize these, then they're covered. But if you do not go out and utilize it, then that money will be taken back. So, that's something where you want to make sure you utilize the money in order so that it is not, recaptured or taken back by the federal government. So you will have to be able to account for that. And it's something that you'll have a separate, you'll have a separate accounting of how the money's spent and everything like that, so that Dan will work on with the staff to make sure that's all done properly.
But my concern is just once the $11 million is used up, then what happens? Everybody, the voucher program ends and people are on their own again, or is there some other thing or don't you know at this point how they're going to kind of phase it out? I mean, you can't just stop. You can't get $11 million and people get.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't disappear. Right, you're just not 1 year and then you're stopping. As far as that work's concerned. No, again, the way it typically works is if you can show that you have utilized it, then you'll that's something that you'll be funded as far as any ongoing subsidies concerned.
Okay.
Now, if some of that money, I don't know, Dan, as far as the way they wrote that, because a lot of times with the Choice Neighborhood grants, they do have some of the money that's utilized toward other than the voucher itself. So you might have some for startup or that sort of cost.
Homeownership.
So there may be some costs that are one-time costs, Commissioner, versus ongoing. So but when you're talking about the ongoing, the actual subsidy, yeah, the government will not they're not going to stop that. That is something which once you have and you're showing that you're committed as far as those housing choice vouchers, those will be part of your program. So the key will be showing that they're committed, because once you show that you haven't been able to utilize that, that's when they'll take that money back. So.
Of course, okay, no, thank you.
And essentially the way they would do it is they don't take the money back, they reduce your voucher money. So then they'll say, okay, you've only utilized, 70% of the money, so now that's going forward, that sort of thing, so.
Commissioner, I can
Thank
tell you this, and the rest of the commissioners and people here in this audience, that we have 6,000 people on our existing Section 8 waiting list. And our job will be to go through those numbers and provide whoever's still looking for housing or subsidy. We're gonna go through, like that 11 million is gonna be recaptured, and we're gonna try to spend every single dime of it until HUD stops us. That's our plan. We wanna put people in housing. We wanna get the vouchers to them that they desperately need, especially in this area. This isn't like some area where it's not livable. You're like, oh, I gotta live in this area. This is a beautiful area. You've got a lot to offer. You've got Rutgers. I mean, we're gonna go over and over and over this. We're in a great area, halfway to New York City and halfway to Philly. People wanna live here, and I think people deserve to live here, and we're gonna provide them with the vouchers until HUD stops us. And we're not gonna leave a penny behind for them to recapture. That I can tell you on the record. That's our plan. All right?
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Great. My report is over. There's no unfinished business, except I'm waiting on Mr. Caldwell for our retreat, which I had a feeling was gonna be over the summer. It'll probably be July or August now. He promises to get back to me soon in the next couple weeks. We'll get into the resolutions of new business right after I open up the public comments. So right now, oh, sorry, go
We
ahead.
have to do,
A motion to accept the minutes
I'll
from
second
the
the
last
motion.
meeting.
Thank you very much. All right.
No, I wasn't making the motion, I was telling somebody has to make the motion.
Yeah, who's gonna motion first on the minutes, previous minutes? Mr. Giorgiani? I don't hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did unmute.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
I need a second, please.
Second.
Here we go. Commissioner Walde. Okay. Roll call. Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes,
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Abstain.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Pettix.
I think I have to abstain too. I wasn't here at the last meeting.
We're gonna table the minutes for the next board meeting. Mr. Camacho, same process at this time.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, as I had said, Dan, the commissioners certainly are within their right to abstain, obviously, if they're not at the meeting. So with the two abstentions, yeah, I think that would be the reasonable thing to do, would be to table it then for the next meeting.
Because we don't have a quorum, right?
Right. I need
Well,
four votes.
you don't have a quorum, and I think at this point, since it's two voting yes and two tabling, if you ran into a situation where if there was an impossibility to get a quorum, you could, move forward with something like the minutes, because it's not a action item that the board has taken, but at this point, I would just table it for the next meeting, so.
Great. Or any other situation, if they had an opportunity to review the minutes from the past, that would count also, even if they didn't make the meeting. So there is another caveat.
Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't make the meeting, if you review it, and to the best of your knowledge and understanding, that does reflect what occurred in your understanding for the meeting, it's fine to vote on the minutes. You do not have to abstain, but it's certainly within the commissioner's rights to do that. So that's not a problem. And with the two abstentions, we'll just wait till the next meeting.
So the minutes are tabled. I'd like to take a vote to table the minutes, so the record is accurate. Commissioner Giorgiani, this is just to table the minutes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Table.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Pettis.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Let the record reflect, minutes have been tabled. At this time, we're going to move to public comment. Floor is open. Whoever would like to come up, please state your name and your address.
What's
Oh,
the
you're
matter?
good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Gretchen Spencer, 2 Jennings Court in New Brunswick. I have a question. You're saying you got 11 million for Section 8, right? Why can't that money go to rebuild Robeson Sports? That's the question, because if you're getting
Yeah.
money for Section 8, which I don't mean that's good,
Dan
but
or Mr. Camacho?
And
but Robeson Village really, especially Robeson side, needs to be rebuilt like nobody's business. With the mold, the mildews, the windows don't work, you got the bugs running and you can't get them out. People are living in this. I got one lady in her apartment was condemned by the Board of Health, but they put somebody in it and she's running back and forth to the hospital, to the apartment, back to the hospital, back to the apartment. These apartments are 100, I'm 70. So these apartments are 100 years old. Paul Robeson had Robeson over on that side, not Schwartz. Robeson Village, built for black soldiers back in the day in the late 30s, early 40s during the war. Can you imagine what the money that they're putting out to keep these apartments afloat when they need to be rebuilt? They look good on the outside. It's the inside that's, excuse my French, messed up. This is inside the walls. It's inside the apartments. My kitchen floor fell till they had to come over and put jacks underneath my floor so the refrigerator wouldn't fall through. And the earthquake didn't help none. Every bug that was living under there that I never seen is running in my house right now. And I'm using more spray than the Lord. They got to come spray my house now. The ants are starting to take over and the termites. They eating up the floors left and right, the walls, everything. People's windows are sticking. You can't get windows to stay up because they're falling down. I have complaints from so many people out here, especially on Robeson side. The Hoville and Wright place is messing up, but still, Robeson, if you start with Robeson, tear that down and rebuild that back first, and then you start putting people back in and work your way till you start working the right place and do one side then the next. This is getting ridiculous. We're not getting the right. My bathroom sink, love it, but it's not that you have to have a force of water in your kitchen sink and bathroom sink. I'm not getting that with this bathroom sink. The water feel like I'm in a hotel bathroom. And if you know how the water just come out lightly, that's how my water's coming out with this sink. Love the sink, love the cabinet now, but it's not the right sink for the apartment. And whatnot.
Gretchen, I hate to tell you, you got 1 minute.
1 minute?
Go ahead.
Well, stop me when I go over.
Okay.
But it's something has to be done. Everybody, you're getting all this money to do things, but you're not getting money to really rebuild this place where it can function right, where people can feel comfortable. Robeson side, the apartments were built for soldiers. My bed is upside the wall. I can't walk around my bed no more since I moved from Schwartz side, because Schwartz side is much bigger than Robeson, the apartments. These were barracks for families, so they were moving in and out. So the rooms are like this. The 1 bedroom in a 3 bedroom is so small they only got 1 window and you can put a bunk, just a bunk. These apartments got to be changed because of everything that's running up under the people that come fix these apartments, even maintenance, do not want to go up underneath the buildings. They don't want to go up underneath the buildings because it is filthy. When I say filthy, you can get contaminated if they didn't wear suits.
Thank you.
I don't blame them.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Anybody else?
No, they're coming.
I agree with you, Rachel.
Hmm?
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep trying, like I said, every time I come to a meeting, I'm gonna keep trying. Cause this is, you're doing stuff for people, I don't mind the Section 8, but when you don't do for the people that live here, that lives right here, that sees the little kids seeing mice and roaches and ants and termites, every day. These grounds are contaminated by now with the chemicals coming from the factories that used to live there. Next.
Thank you, Ms. Gretchen.
I'll go next.
Okay, that's Charlie.
Good evening, Commissioners. Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I want to start by saying thank you to Mr. Toto and the staff here. It's great to be back in this room and to see that it is possible to have a hybrid public meeting that brings together community members, not just a member of the press here or there, or a few people with one issue, but the people who actually live here, the people who actually have the most at stake in these meetings. I look out behind me and I see well over a dozen people who are here tonight because this meeting was made open to the public in person, and I'm so pleased to see that happen, and I want to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight.
And thank you, and thank you.
And participating, because this is the first step to improving our quality of life in New Brunswick and addressing this really problematic housing crisis that we find ourselves in. Glad that we heard some good news today about money coming in to help folks get vouchers, but we still have a long way to go. We need more transparency with what's happening in redevelopment. That is a big piece of what this agency does, and you wouldn't know it from the website, where we need to have information about what applications are coming up, when and how people can give input on those applications, and ultimately, just like the staff did tonight, facilitate community engagement and having New Brunswick residents involved at every step of the level, every level along the way. We also need stronger legislation at the local, county, state, and federal level to address this housing crisis. I think Mr. Toto's onto something when he says New Brunswick's a great place and a lot of people want to live here, and that is creating this increase in the rent. And the current tools that we have to address that are not enough. The city's rent control ordinance, it's good that we have one, but it doesn't go far enough, and frankly, the state laws hold us back from making rent control universal and strengthening it for everyone. I think we also need to acknowledge that there's a lot of people struggling right now, perhaps more than have been in prior years, for a variety of reasons, that we need to connect them with help, not just to pay their rent, but to avoid evictions and to take care of their families, so that these are safe, healthy homes with good food for people, clean water, and it's a lot more than just housing that we need. But I think this is a great start tonight, and I think together, working with the board members, the staff, and the community, we can make New Brunswick a safe and an affordable community. And I appreciate everybody being a part of tonight's meeting, and I hope to see all future meetings like this open to the public, remotely and in person. We can have the best of both worlds. This is a great step, and so thank you to everybody who made it possible. Thanks for hearing me out.
Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for staying under the time limit. Appreciate it. State your name and address, sir.
Yes. My name is Rodney Fannin. I live at 19 Carter Road. I understand that we supposed to get $11 million for the Section 8, right? So why would y'all go through the list first and deal with the people that's already here?
Well, it's the law.
So you have to go through the list
Yes,
first?
until they exhaust the list or they tell us to exhaust the list. So that we have to do, and you might be on that list, you know, people don't know, like, you
Okay.
know, there are a lot of, because the list has been out a long time.
Yeah, okay.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut into your time.
You go.
But that, we have no discretion over that money, that was something that was given us for a specific purpose to be spent in a certain way.
Okay, all right. So one more thing,
So why can't?
when we come home, when certain people come home in the middle of the night, because we all don't come home at 4 o'clock in the morning, I mean 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when we get home, there'll be no parking spots. People got 4 or 5 cars living in 2-bedroom house. I mean, there's nowhere to park. I park on the grass when I come home late. There's nowhere to park. So I suggest that we should do assign parking spots to the apartments.
Or open back the short side road where people can park on both sides.
Yeah, whatever works.
Is your, I mean, I gotta interrupt, I wanna ask you a question. Is your community where you live over there on Carter Road safer today than it was a year ago?
I can say yes, I can say that.
Tell them.
I can say that, yes. The earlier years when I first came down here, no. Now to this day, 2024, yes, I can say, yes. It's more safer than anything. On any one of our blocks. Any one of them. There's no less shootings, less cops coming through. It's lovely right now. So yes, it's a whole lot better. Whole lot better. Right? I just got a problem with the parking. That's what I got. So yeah, but anything else, it's perfect. Our little kids can run outside and play now. We could be in the kitchen while they outside. Now, in 2024.
You couldn't do that before.
Couldn't do that before.
Not until they can.
Everybody comes here that don't live here. As soon as the cops being called, they come, and then they don't do nothing. But now, it's good. The cleanup has changed. I can say the cleanup has changed the feel around. Just like that.
They forgot who I was downtown when I called.
Thank you, Rodney.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Gretchen, your show.
Anybody else? Nobody wants to say nothing? No. Y'all come on, speak now, forever hold your peace. Seriously, we need to get it. I said everything for y'all? I can say some more? Go ahead, speak your mind before I go back.
I'm Diana Torres, Party. I'm kind of nervous, sorry. Miss Gretchen is right, basically, because I complained to her about the window. I have a broken window that, this is my first time. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. Just talk like you do to me.
That basically it's been broken for almost 8 years. Everything's actually safer now. I can actually sit in my front porch without a problem. Before I used to be scared, petrified. Not no more. I'm glad everything, basically is safe. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Like,
Take your time.
I used to call the cops. I used to tell them to leave. They never left. They left and come back. I used to be scared to walk out the front door. Now I can actually walk and sit on my front porch without a problem. And I'm so glad for that. I'm so grateful that I could actually do that right now. And I couldn't do it before. And my grandkids could actually come outside and play. And they couldn't do that before. That's the one thing I'm grateful for. And basically the only problem I have is my broken window. And once that's fixed, then everything else is fine to me. But right now I appreciate it that it's safe there. That's the one thing that I'm glad of. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Next. Nobody else got nothing to say? Hi, baby. Nobody else got nothing to say?
You said it, Gretchen.
I said it all.
Miss Gretchen, you can say some more. You can say some more. Go ahead.
Y'all, seriously,
Go ahead.
Gretchen.
I just, y'all gotta speak now, but I spoke for everybody. Well, I want everybody to get off their chest what they need to know. Why this place is falling apart. Why we got so much dust in our house from these fans on Robeson side. I can't breathe. Y'all, what else you need to say?
That's about the new complex.
The new complex with new, oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about
They talking about the new complex over on, Route 1
that. Yeah, it's on there.
by Sears.
By Sears,
Are we
yeah.
going?
Are they supposed to be putting people in there from here, or, that's what I wanna find out, what we wanna find out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I can answer that. They're under no obligation, that was a point of contention for a long time. I can tell you that this board fought for you guys really hard, but they were not under that obligation. You can apply, you have to be paying a premium rent. They're not under any sort of obligation to
It's the
house.
company.
And I'm not assuming that you have the money, or you don't have the money to go there, but that is a whole different market rate.
Yeah, cause what was it really, new?
But I can tell you this board, and a member who's not here this evening, who's the chair of the board, not that it makes them any more special than the rest of the commissioners, they are working diligently on the noise that I bring them from the community, that they've had enough of living here like this. And that we do respectfully deserve new housing. And there is a plan in place. Mr. Waldy and Chairman Wright, after their trip, next couple weeks, they're gonna come back with some really good information. We're meeting with a consultant who was instrumental in bringing new housing to Charlotte and El Paso, Texas. That was cutting edge. You know, if those kind of areas do it, why can't we? I mean, this is simple. We're at Rutgers, we're at Johnson & Johnson. It's gonna happen. Now, I don't know if it's gonna happen while I'm still here, but it's definitely gonna happen.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, I'm still here.
But there is a plan, right? Before, there was no talk about it, or there was a little talk, and we tried to get you in at 10% of some of the newer redevelopment projects around the area. But there is definitely a lot more talk and a lot more seriousness, especially when you're bringing in development consultants for this particular project. So yes.
Yeah, cause some of us been out here a long time, we done seen this place go from sugar to, and so it needs to come down, it needs to be rebuilt, and we need a decent place to stay. Without smelling odors coming in your house, and decent stoves that don't come on when you walk past them and they come on automatically, and your refrigerators are so small you only can get a bottle of soda in it. So it needs to be rebuilt, it needs to be, I'm sorry, this place, you don't want your families living out here. This is what I got to say. You don't want your families living out here. This place needs to be started with Robeson side. Needs to be widened, the streets need to be widened, the building, matter of fact, they need to be built back with brick, not that wooden frame stuff, because the way the wind comes through here, it'll wipe out a whole building. The wind is too strong in this area, and I can tell you for a fact, I done seen it flood out here, and we used to never flood, but then when they built Aldi's, we started flooding. They didn't do the piping right. I can go through a whole bunch of stuff, okay? Then they put, what you call them things? Fans in the bathrooms, which bring in more dust than it takes. You wake up the next day, you clean your bathroom is dirty.
Mine stopped working.
The vents are so nasty that when you turn the heat on, the heat brings out the dust. And some of them even, the vents aren't even connected. People don't want to go up under these buildings to fix nothing because they are filthy. Cats used to live up on them until they shored them up. Now we got the bugs. And like I said, I am so mad because I'm fighting. I started to bring a roach with me that was that doggone big that came in my kitchen one night. And I ain't never seen a roach that big in my house before.
So Gretchen, I'm going to interrupt her because I gave her an opportunity to speak as a tenant, but she also does serve as the resident council president, and she hears a lot throughout. We have 253 units, and she means well. I support her in most of her initiatives, and she is a self-described, self-educated engineer, so she's pretty good when she breaks some things down. But I thank you, Gretchen, and I thank you for coming with all our tenants. And
well, this is what we have to go through out here every day. So these are some of the people.
I don't know if you have any questions, but this is a comment period. We don't really answer any questions unless it's bold and I can answer it. But that's where we stand.
Hello everyone, I'm Commissioner Tina Hernandez. I would first like to say to the residents thank you for coming. It's very important for us to hear what you have to say. Gretchen, you have been always doing an excellent job. When I do see you, we haven't seen each other for a long time. You
Right.
do keep me informed, you let me know. So again, residents, thank you. And also at our next previous meetings, please, or if not, do not wait to a meeting. Please share with Dan, our director there, and let us know with certain things and everything. But again, thank you. Your voice is very valuable, you residents of that community there. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if we can get a motion, if there's no other comment from anyone, we can get a motion in a second, we can close public comment.
Like a motion to close public comment.
Mr.
Second.
Giorgiani motions, second by Medina Hernandez. Roll call, Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Walden,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettis.
Yes.
Great. Let the record reflect, motion passes with the absence of Caldwell, Dunlap, and Wright. Now we can move on to new business. I'm going to read these two resolutions together. They're for payment of bills. Typically, they're under one. I separate them both because that's what I do at Franklin. NBHA Resolution number 28, and then NBHA Resolution 29. They're for payment of bills for both public housing and HCV for the month of April. If there are no questions, I'll need a motion in a second for the payment of bills.
Just a general question. How much time does it take you to prepare this document? I saw it's a list of hundreds of people plus their signature and all that every month. How much time does it take?
It's a super headache. It takes me a long time with Kamini, our bookkeeper, who handles the finances. It's quite cumbersome.
Yeah.
And I do it for two agencies, but okay. I'm not complaining. You brought it up.
No, I'm just, I was just looking at it.
Yeah,
How much time?
it's awful.
Short stuff.
Then I have to hear from Gretchen, so it really gets really crazy. Sometimes I gotta cut her short. Sorry, Gretchen, sorry.
Okay, so can we move on to
We can.
the voting? Please, thank you.
So motion is Giorgiani's, Medina Hernandez second. Roll call. Mr. Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Commissioner Pettis?
Yes.
Let the record reflect, motion passes. NBHA Resolution number 30, resolution to approve the June 2025 NBHA annual state budget that was prepared by Paul Carey and Associates with the help of the Executive Director of NBHA. That's the budget that I submitted to you guys to take a look at. That has to still go over to the state and to HUD for their approval, and then it comes back to us, and then we adopt it. Any questions? I'll need a motion in a second.
Yeah,
If there are none.
I have a question. Maybe my friend Doug might help on this one. The way the statement says the total budget approved reflects total revenue. No, total budget introduced reflects total revenue of 90,352,900, and then it says total approved, including any accounting deficit, if any, 80,128,487. So I don't know which
Okay.
part is.
I can save Mr. Commissioner Pettis from answering that because I brought my accountant with me and he is here this evening.
Okay.
Mike Maurice, you there? Mike?
Yeah, I'm here, Dan.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you explain to me the difference between the 19 million and the 80 million that's on the resolution?
Yeah, well, the 19 million are the revenues and the 18 million are the appropriations, which are the expenses.
Okay.
And so we have enough revenues to cover the budgeted expenses that were in the budget, which are detailed on those supplemental pages, the F pages, F1, 2, 3, 4, in the budget that you have in front of you. So what that's showing is that we didn't use any operating reserves to cover expenses. We're budgeting for a surplus of
Okay.
roughly $1 million.
Very good, okay. Yeah, because I didn't understand it the way it was structured, so that's why I'm asking that question. Thank you.
And Director, if I could ask about the process, just not being familiar with adopting a budget for Housing Authority. You're presenting the budget to us tonight just for our general approval. You mentioned that it has to go to the state and to HUD. Is there a public hearing on the budget like you would in a municipality? Is there a requirement for, I'm sorry, I'll let,
So the way the state budgeting process works is, the budget is prepared, it's presented at tonight's meeting for your you're approving the budget. Once you approve that budget, it gets sent to the DCA down in Trenton, and they have to approve it. Once they approve it, it gets sent back to the Housing Authority for adoption, and then it becomes your budget. That's the way that the state process works. So the public hearing, if you will, would be tonight. The budget's being introduced for your approval tonight. If you have questions or disagreements with any of the line items on the budget, I think tonight would be the night for you to express those concerns, if any, and they would have to be addressed by, Dan, and he would come to me, and we would work out what those concerns were, and then we'd have to reintroduce the budget at another meeting.
I have another question. Since we're running with a surplus, when you send this budget to HUD as is, are they going to reduce their allocation by 1 million or so?
No, that budget doesn't go to HUD. Well, we're not
Okay,
required
that's
to
just
send
a
the budget
DCA.
to HUD.
Okay.
That budget only goes to the DCA.
Okay. All right.
And just, so HUD's subsidy for lower-end public housing is based on a formula calculation on a project expense level, inflated with inflation factor. And then there is a 3-year rolling base for utilities, which is also inflated. And those numbers get added together with the number of units leased, and they come up with a subsidy amount. The only thing that HUD that you might be thinking of is in the Section 8 program. If you have excess reserves, HUD can recapture those because they don't want housing authorities holding their money.
Okay, yeah.
But they're not gonna, that $1 million surplus is not going to impact your budget, your funding from HUD.
DCA will not do anything to it though, right? They won't reduce it?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Commissioners, if there are no other questions, I'd like a motion and a second on this resolution.
Move.
Moved by, I'm sorry,
Yurgo.
Second.
Sorry. Okay, roll call. Commissioner Giorgiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettix.
yes. Can I make a comment though? Just, I don't want to be the fly in the ointment all the time on stuff like this. And I haven't been through the process of the Housing Authority. But I'm directing it to you, Director, just the idea that we get the budget a little bit earlier so we really have an opportunity to look at it and have some sort of budget presentation. I'm not saying we have to belabor the thing, but just some summary as to what's in this budget, what's new, what's not new, so really would be a lot better, at least for me, I'm not gonna speak for anybody else, to have a better idea of what we're voting on if we had it earlier and had a presentation. I don't know if that's normal and customary in a housing authority, but I would think anybody would want a more educated vote on voting on a budget, personally.
I think we have done that before, so it could be done.
Okay, we'll definitely listen to your comments and do a better job of getting it out to you sooner. Mike, what about other housing authorities that you work with? I mean, you work with so many. What's typical, Mike?
It really depends upon the board. We do present the budget at other housing authorities. Sometimes they're presented at work sessions, not at open public meetings, because some of the information, especially when it comes to salaries and so forth, is, you wouldn't put in an open session. But yeah, we do that. I don't have a problem, coming down and presenting it to the board and answering any questions that they have.
Great. I got 2 members that are going to be on that subcommittee, so I know who they are. I'll be making a recommendation to you. All right. Thank you, Mr.
Sure,
Pettit.
if they have questions before the adoption, we can do that as well. If they have it now, they can certainly, ask their questions. It gets adopted after the state approves it, so.
Right. Great. All right. The vote counted. It has passed 4-0 with the absences of Caldwell, Dunlap, and Wright. Motion passes. Thank you. Fourth resolution, number 31. Resolution.
I think the CPA person, he recommended that we should see the budget before adoption, so maybe that's a good idea.
You have the
No.
you have the budget in your email. It was sent
No,
out.
that was, I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead, explain.
Everybody saw I mean, everyone has the budget in their email, it was sent out.
Yes.
The adoption from the DCA typically takes about 60 days, correct, Mike?
Yeah, typically about 60 days.
Right.
They're a little backed up, so.
So it
yeah.
still has to come back to us again.
Okay, we'll make a recommendation, Dan, we'll discuss, and I'm sorry, who's the accountant's name again?
Mike Maurice?
It's Mike Moore.
Okay, hello, Mike Maurice. So we'll have a discussion in regards to the future budget presentations. As of right now, the vote has already happened, and as Dan indicated, and Mr. Maurice, that with the adoption, so it takes about 60 days, we can go back and go over it, and any questions that might be had, then at that time it'll be done.
But by the way, there is a misunderstanding. I was not asking to reverse the vote. I was just asking.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just simply explaining so
Yeah.
that we have that clarification before we move on to the next resolution. Okay, thank you. And thank you always for the questions on Douglas. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Great. Resolution number 31, resolution to authorize and approve 2 commissioners to attend the FADA convention in New Orleans, Louisiana. Is there no question?
Actually, it's a good one. They want to, it's about housing.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come?
I don't mind going. I'm speaking at that conference, so.
Great.
Great, so I'll need a motion and a second for that, please. If there are no questions.
And make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Second, please.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Giorgiani. Roll call, please. Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Pettit.
Yes.
Let the record reflect motion passes with the absence of Caldwell, Dunlap, and Wright. At this time, just bear with me for 1 second. I have a walk-up, I guess that's the proper word, resolution from the floor. This resolution will be identified as resolution number 32. It is a resolution extending time for approval of redevelopment agreement between NB Plaza owner Urban Renewal LLC and the Housing Authority acting as redevelopment agency for the construction of a mixed-use residential and commercial project on the property known as Block 120, Lot 5.01, on the New Brunswick tax map. This issue is coming before you because the time limit that they were to move on this is quickly upon us, that they will be in default, so we're gonna extend them another 90 days, and it was no fault of theirs or no fault of our own. This matter is in litigation right now, with not one but two parties holding it up until the matter can be resolved in court. And as customary would have it, this is the first time they're asking for an extension, and bringing this before you as a walk-up resolution. Alberto, I've covered it.
Dan, could you read that resolution again, please?
I can read it.
Thank you.
Resolution number 32 is identified, will be the resolution extending time for approval of redevelopment agreement between NB Plaza owner Urban Renewal LLC and the Housing.
I'm sorry, could you wait a minute? Mr. Maurice, could you, he left. It was back when I was gonna hear. I'm sorry, could you go again? Thank you.
Resolution 32, resolution extending time for approval of redevelopment agreement between NB Plaza owner Urban Renewal LLC and the Housing Authority acting as redevelopment agency for the construction of a mixed-use residential and commercial property project on property known as Block 120, Lot 5.01 on the New Brunswick tax map.
So Commissioners, if I could just explain momentarily for this. So typically your redevelopment council handles this, but they weren't available. Tonight I did review the resolution, and essentially what this is you have a time period. You have an initial 90 days once a developer, a redeveloper is assigned to enter into a redevelopment agreement. During that time, which would expire as of May 29th, there is a pending litigation which has caused the parties not to be able to finalize negotiating this redevelopment agreement. So because of that, that's why they're coming to you and requesting, the redeveloper is requesting an extension of the time to negotiate the redevelopment agreement. So it's asking for an additional 90 days that would take you out to toward the end of August to finalize that agreement.
Who is the developer and where is this project?
Thank you, your.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, it's
Fantastic.
the
Thank you.
Abundant Life.
Where it is?
It's the Abundant Life on George Street. The church, they did a presentation, the last meeting, the meeting
Okay,
before.
it's just because when you read the lot number, I don't remember my lots, I remember my things.
Yeah, this is the lower George Street area
Yes,
redevelopment.
I remember what you're talking about, thank you.
Yeah, and the redeveloper is New Brunswick Plaza owner Urban Renewal. And
That's the 42-story building, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Just a general question, and a big developer like that, how come they didn't know that it was going to expire on May 29th?
No, they did know, Commissioner. It was because of the litigation that it was an impossibility that the agreement was going to be negotiated during that time because of, and again, it had nothing to do with anything affecting, or anything because of them. It's just that the negotiations couldn't be completed because of that litigation. So.
No, why I asked that question was, to work in a resolution the last minute, that's why I was asking, they should have known it. At least, they should have presented it and say.
So that's fair,
this
fair
happens.
point. Fair point.
Yeah, that's what
And I, to kind of follow up on Yerbu's comment, it's just a big developer, you would think would have all of his or her ducks lined up before they kind of come to us for the redevelopment. Just a little surprised they have this litigation. I'm sure you can't share what the litigation is, but it doesn't give you a warm and cozy feeling that the project's off to a good start when it's already in litigation, at least from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, I don't know, Dan, did they mention anything specific as far, not with regard to the litigation, but specifically as far as the timing, why they came to you, toward the end of this timeframe? The only thing I would say is it may have just gotten to the point where with this type of litigation, a lot of times you get into a situation where you get to the end of it and you say, okay, guys, we're not going to be able to negotiate this in time, and we need that extension. But I agree, Commissioner. I mean, it could have been done a little earlier, certainly. So, but I don't know the specifics because we're not directly involved in that litigation. So.
And how many days, additional days are they asking for? And what happens if they don't do whatever they need to do within the extension period?
Yeah, so it would be an additional 90 days. And again, what needs to be done is during that 90 days, the redevelopment agreement needs to be negotiated. If it is not negotiated within that time, then at that point, you can either provide an additional extension, or if it's not, then you would have to designate a new redeveloper. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll need a motion in a second if there are no further questions.
Motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Roll call, please. Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Pettis.
Yes.
Let the record reflect motion carries, passes, absent Caldwell, Dunlap, and Wright. Those are it for the resolutions for this evening. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say at this time before we adjourn?
Maybe on Doug's comment, I think you should let the developer know how much the board had so much concern, this thing coming in the last minute. And they should be aware that the next time they do that, they might have a problem with the board.
No, it shouldn't be, I would appreciate if they know that no walk-ins, not on the day of
Yeah,
the meeting.
yeah.
I will definitely share that with the individuals and the legal counsel at that point. And Alberto, thank you so much, and I'm glad I conferred with you today in regards to that, and provided you with documentation.
No problem at all.
Appreciate it. Great.
And Dan, with one of the residents who spoke, I apologize if I did, I don't remember her name, but could you please look into her window? She indicated that her window was broken. Could that please be looked into?
Absolutely. Great, thank you.
Denise.
Yep. Diana
What was
Torres.
her name?
Diana Torres.
Diana, thank you, Diana, thank you, please, Mr. Toto will follow up with you, Diana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, we can adjourn for the evening. I'll need a motion in a second for the adjournment, please.
Move.
Second.
Who moved that? I'm sorry. Jenny?
Me.
Oh, you said that in a different voice. Roll call. Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Hernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Commissioner Pettis.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.
Have a nice holiday.
Thank you.
Next month. Next month.
Bye, guys. Bye.